Probably quite mysterious characters, quite like badly behaved, in trouble with the law, that kind of thing.
To see a protagonist and antagonist. So the protagonist would probably be some sort of police officer, and the antagonist would be someone who's committing a certain crime, whether it's stealing or hurting others.
I'd expect a good guy, a bad guy, and maybe people supporting the good guy and maybe people supporting the bad guy too.
Strong, robust characters. I'd say ones that are more muscle than human, I think, is what I expect.
A very strong protagonist and also a strong antagonist, but there's a weakness for the protagonist that the antagonist would understand and try to use that to his advantage to beat the protagonist, and there'd be conflict between them during the movie, and at the end, hopefully the protagonist wins.
Somebody getting murdered in the beginning, followed on by crime scene investigation, looking at the dead body and then working away from there, and maybe like other enemies joining in to try and back up the killer or something like that.
I like happy starts and happy endings because that makes you, like, when you leave the cinema, it makes you feel good. So like I would definitely want a positive vibe at the start where the person's living that like normal life and then the crazy things happen.
The hero's in love, the villain's in love with the same person, like fight.
The bad guys do something, good guys try and fight the bad guys, they lose, they go through that sort of arc and they beat the bad guys.
Like the villain's always going to be like someone who wants to take over the world or something like that, or always wants his way.
Quite dark moods, a little bit scary.
Anger, distress, probably like confusion and also like just worry in a way.
Tense, it could be tense, you can sort of comedic element.
In the title sequence, I like it when it starts all quiet, you know, like the sort of like it's all peaceful and lovely, and then suddenly there's like cars flying over the place.
I think you'd see a lot of suspense and, in some sense, sadness, because this could grab the viewer's attention.
Practically the character itself, because they are the soul of the film. I want to be introduced to the character straight away.
Sound is important. If you've got a dramatic soundtrack, it's quite engaging.
An overview of the crimes committed, whether this be through a flashback or a current situation happening.
Explosions. I'm a physicist. Anything with amount of like force or power of like a fire and flame.
Yes, I can.
Fast and Furious, Snatch, and there was another one I watched.
The first one that comes to mind is Batman.
Piece of a Nation.
007, I'd say like Die Another Day.
Probably the Avengers or Iron Man series.